you like to join us in Shapaya? We'll come back to your report, but we'll start with item 15, which is the Linwood Village and City East community-led planning approach. So, 1 minute. So, Sally, would you like to introduce this as the chair of the community board?
Sure. So we've got a 1 Part A recommendation, so I haven't got it up on my screen. I know it's page 97 of the reports today. Yeah, we've got 1 Part A, and this is the one that you've just had the deputation about here. And we thank Te Whare Roimata for coming along to support us in this, because you know, they're trying to get a community-led procedure, and that's exactly what we've got here under our recommendations. Now, I think I should have added, oh, it hasn't been added yet.
No, we're just adding a fourth one, which notes that some of the specific planning tools in the Greater Christchurch Regeneration Act may be required to facilitate planning.
Might be under, it's probably under, if you go up on the screen, it's probably under...
It's just come up as an item 4, so note that some of the specific planning tools. That'll be fine.
Is that 1 minute?
It was going to be added to 3, but it's just been put up as a 4th item. I mean, it doesn't matter. Okay. They're both. It effectively produces the same result.
That's your recommendation. Okay.
It's just the purpose of this is just to make it clear that the reason that Regenerate Christchurch kind of facilitates in the background is because some of the specific planning tools in the Act may be required to facilitate planning. That they can really only, an outline in this area can really only be generated by the council or by Regen Christchart or
So our board recommendation is basically acknowledging that that we're trying to get this project moving, and we're trying to keep the community involved and have a community-led approach from the bottom. So. So I think we've captured it all there now as number 4. So, you know, we'd like you to, someone to move that.
Very good. So has anyone got any questions? Questions, Aaron, and then Phil?
Yeah, just on the item 15, I can't find any financial implications, so I take it there's none whatsoever. Normally it says when there's none.
There's actually a paper later on where there is some funding.
Yeah, normally all our decision-making financial implications are in the report, and so every decision we make, we can see how much it costs.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming this is no cost?
Planning is what the council does, so...
it's not free, our staff aren't
volunteers. No, I understand that, but within the council's operation, it does undertake planning, and they will be supporting this, and also the community... But this is a community-led approach, which does have, you know, I mean, yeah. So a community-led approach does require resourcing, but that's being dealt with in a different way. This paper isn't dependent on that resourcing.
It says here under it says here the cost of the proposed approach as outlined in this report would for this initial phase be absorbed from within existing budgets across relevant organisations. Depending on the scale of further work required, additional budget reprioritisation of work or ceasing some projects may be needed.
Yeah, so that's 5.4 in the paper. Phil and then Glenn.
My question is really about where the Linwood Master Plan fits. So my understanding from the report is you say we're agreeing it's complementary. So in fact, is it like part of it, or does it mean there's changes to the plan? Could you just explain that, Katie?
So it is complementary. The master plan will continue, but this will run alongside it. So there's still the Stanmore Road upgrade, which is planned in the master plan, and that's also in the annual plan as well to happen, I think, in 2021. So that will continue. So this won't amend the master plan, but it will run alongside it.
Glenn?
Oh, thank you. Just good question from Councillor Aaron. Just that the homelessness dimension of that is another separate funding stream, so that will kind of bevel into this. But good question over naturally.
All right. Did you have your hand up so that you could move the resolution? I'll let you move the resolution. And seconded by Sarah Templeton. Eh? No, it is good. Yeah. So, does anyone want to debate this? Yanni?
Well, I just think it's really important to acknowledge that this is one of the communities that was hit really hard in the earthquake, and through the Central City Plan that Council did, this group has made a number of submissions to a number of processes, and I just wanted to stress the importance of central government being involved with local government. There are a number of things that we do need to look at, and we can't do it as a council. We simply don't have the tools and the powers, so I think it's really positive to work with Regenerate around this. There is some very real issues around land use in this particular area that can be addressed through this, but also I think it's really important just to acknowledge that the community with very little resourcing has done an amazing job. And I mean, if you contrast it, I guess, to what's happened in Fennelton with the post office going into the council service centre, this was a post office that has remained open in the community through the huge volunteer efforts that this group has made. So it would be really good to get a holistic plan in place that uses all the tools available to us to get some really positive outcomes. But I also just wanted to acknowledge that we know post-earthquake that the communities that could least afford it and were the most disadvantaged end up bearing an unfair brunt of the burden. And certainly if you look in this area, what you see is the loss of low income affordable housing, the inner city bed sits, etc. That has had quite a devastating consequence alongside the loss of those affordable local businesses where people could go pre-earthquake, and now post-earthquake. Obviously the cost of rebuilding has priced some of those out. So I really look forward to this. I think, you know, if we can take this opportunity to use the collaborative approach between central and local government and the community, then I think we'll be in a good space. I'm, you know, sad that it's taken this long to get to this point, but I think we need to look forward now and just embrace this and make sure that we get regular reporting and key timeframes are kept and met so that we can see progress in this area.
Yep. Glenn?
Thank you. A lot of the temporary accommodation shifts in this area resulted in a loss of further accommodation options in inner city Christchurch East. So I think it's important to have Regen there. They may perhaps come across as sitting in the background, but if they need to just shift forward a bit and use some of the powers available to them in relation to the district plan, that would be good, because it is quite a significant chunk of housing that was lost. The significance, not just in terms of number, but actual social need. So I'm pleased to see that Regen is there, and I sense that they're ready to go, and everyone is. So yeah, let's push the go button.
Yeah. So if that's everyone, I'll let Dion have the last word, but I want to say a couple of things. This to me is the reason why we worked with central government to change the model of planning post the Sarah environment, to establish an organisation at arm's length from both the council and central government, but jointly funded and resourced and accountable to both. It's created an opportunity for planning to bring community to the heart of its processes. So community engagement is what it does as part of planning, and to me that makes more sense than anything else in terms of a previous approach where planning sort of took place in a private environment, and then a great big announcement, after 100 days, and there you've got the blueprint. No opportunity for feedback, no opportunity, and you can see the process that's going on in the residential red zone. It's completely the opposite. It's totally engaged. It's putting options out. It's allowing people the time to feed back. And we always had time after the earthquake. I think there was an expectation that things would happen a lot more quickly, but international experience would have said it was always going to take much longer than perhaps people had desired at the time. I just want to mention the Aranui Community Trust, and the reason that I mention that is because there is a community that has represented an area that has been at the same scale in terms of the deprivation index. And I hate using that language, because I think if you look for the assets and the strengths of a community, that's where you start building from. If you always look to what the negatives are, then you only see problems. And communities aren't problems to be solved. They're people that require additional support in order to achieve, but they need to lead the process, and that's why I'm really supportive of this. The Aranui model was that they sat as equal partners at the table with central and local government, and that's what I want to see here. I don't want to see communities struck as supplicants, mere applicants for funds. I want to see them work in partnership with the full support of their council and with central government in order to achieve their ambitions and goals. So this is a really good model, and I'm hoping that it becomes the exemplar that others will follow along the way. So Dion, I'll let you close off the debate.
I think you took the words right out of my mouth.
There's
a song like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's put me off a little bit. Now all I can think about is meatloaf, and I've got hungry. Oh dear Lord. So I mean, this is exciting. I mean, when I was first campaigning a year ago, well, actually it was a bit more a year ago. We got elected a year ago. My eyes were struck wide open at the deprivation in Linwood East, or inner city east area, given that there's so much a couple of blocks away in the central city, and so much of the focus had been on the central city, and this area felt at that time that it had been forgotten. And you can kind of still see that if you drive down or even walk, because it's the local supermarket that I go to, the Stanmore Road Super Value. There's still buildings that are falling apart from the earthquake that are still sitting there 7 years, 6 years later, that haven't had anything done to them, haven't been demolished or cleared. So there's a real need in this area, and you can see that from the psychosocial indexes and all those kind of things, where if we're able to sort of support the community and revitalize or regenerate, and I prefer to use the language that's in the Act, we will see an exemplar for how we can sort of move forward. It is what Te Whare Roimata are doing there is supporting a community hub in a way for the community. So it's for the community, by the community, which I really like seeing. The homelessness I just wanted to touch on there is an issue in Linwood Village, and which is what I like about this process, is it's actually going to not just address the physical look of Linwood Village or maybe the planning tools that we need, but actually the social needs that this area has as well. The central city is a focus. I spend a lot of time dealing with stuff in the central city because there's so much going on there. But this is a really important key part to the central city. I actually see it as, the playground to the central city in a way. This is where people will live to work in the central city, and we need to make sure that it's a good place for people to live, that they have the amenity and the values that they need. I just wanted to finish by saying thank you to Jenny for all the work that you've been doing. You're a real star for this area, and it's great to see. And also, Bibi, sitting from Regenerate Christchurch. She's been in the role not too long, and you've already done quite a lot of work to get this along the road. So I just wanted to say thank you to you, and also to Katie as well from our Generation team. As Leanne has said, this is going to be really good. It's something that when I got elected I wanted to get through, and it's finally a year later getting through, so please everybody support it. And from here, as Yanni was saying, we do need some good key milestones, some key dates that we can actually start seeing stuff and bring it back to council. I know it's going to be on the community board agenda most of the time. It's a standing item now. But I'd love to see the council involved in this and actually bring stuff back so that we can actually see the progress that we're putting in here. So yeah, thank you everybody for the work. It's good to see.
Thank you very much. Right, well, it's been moved and seconded, so I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried.
Thank you.